This time we asked our diarists how they felt about the government's response. By and large, people gave the UK government their initial full support in dealing with this huge challenge.
At the beginning, I thought the government was doing okay. I thought at last they were listening to people who knew what they were talking about.
I think I would not want to be making those decisions myself, and I kind of have empathy for them because they're really tough decisions to have to make.
The government's doing okay because I don't think any government knows what they're doing with this.
I think no matter who was in power, it would have been really hard to know what to do.
But that sentiment appears to have turned to mistrust and disappointment.
Right now, when you look back, it kind of feels like they might have got stuff a little bit more wrong than right.
I don't think the government are doing very well, if I'm honest.
They've been very slow to act. Difficult though it is, preparation should have been better.
Time's gone on, I think maybe they're not actually listening to people who know what they're talking about very much. I think they're picking and choosing what they listen to, and they're bending it according to what they want to happen politically.
By far the most popular policies have come from the Treasury.
When Boris Johnson and his team started announcing all the provisions that they were putting in place for people and for businesses, to be honest, I was pretty blown away.
I think that economically, I think that the government's approach has been very good. The furlough scheme has been working, has worked actually quite well, I think.
In some respects, they've played a blinder. The furloughing scheme was absolutely brilliant and definitely helped my company out.
Supporting the most vulnerable, supporting the businesses, supporting the homeless, domestic violence services. So there was a lot to put in straight away.
Initially, I was really grateful. Without furlough, I would have been made redundant by now.
Fair play. The government is trying its best and it is putting its money where its mouth is.
Seemingly past the peak of the virus, we are now looking back with a more critical eye.
The government started off quite weak. They didn't give much importance that this is a very serious virus.
I guess maybe they were just in denial about it, which is a bit worrying, isn't it, when they're the government?
Early March, Boris Johnson was saying proudly that he was shaking hands with people in a hospital environment.
Probably we should have gone into lockdown earlier than we did.
We did seem to have a bit of warning, didn't we?
Yeah,
especially when it was within Europe.
Had the government reacted quicker, many more lives would have been saved.
The horse racing still went ahead, didn't they, when they should have just shut that down.
It did seem quite bizarre that was still happening.
That was bizarre, because by that point I was at home having some sort of breakdown about it, getting really scared.
You realised? Why didn't they realise?
I realised.
There are certainly two areas where they clearly failed. One is provision of PPE and the other is testing availability, which have been, compared to many of our European neighbours, dismal.
I don't think they've pushed the importance of testing. It's very, very difficult to know what we're dealing with.
I don't believe that the people standing up on those podiums every week want people to die. They don't want the death rate to be high, and they then want the economy to keep going. I completely appreciate that, but that also doesn't mean they've made the right decisions.
Many see this as an opportunity to act in an environmentally conscious way.
I think a lot of people have become much more aware of the environment and care about the environment more.
I'm quite excited at the moment about the fact that bicycles are having a resurgence, and there's a lot of money just been pumped into cycling and pedestrianising places.
Certainly to restrict car use more, encourage people onto bikes and walking. I think all these things will be great for society.
It needs to spread out around the country.
I know, exactly. It's not just London, it's about, Colchester town centre or local town centres. They also need a bit of pedestrianisation, and I'm really excited by that. Having
breathed cleaner air and been able to hear the birds sing, for example, that we come out of this wanting to preserve some of that.
One of our diarists is a teacher, now being asked to return to work without PPE and caught between government, unions and local councils.
Come June, we're going to have a lot more students in, we're going to have the whole of year 10, and the unions have said to the government we want certain things in place to protect teachers and protect students, and the government, there's never a hope in hell that they're going to manage to do those things. with the way that they've handled it. And so really we should be saying, no, we're not going to go in. But of course that puts a lot of pressure on teachers, and that makes a lot of ill feeling. I taught a class of 9 kids yesterday, and it's impossible to keep them away from each other. It's, you know, you plan everything to have the distance, and it just falls apart. And as soon as my daughter goes back to school and I'm in school, then the rest of my household may as well just be doing whatever they want, because we're going to bring whatever it is we catch back home.
Next episode, we tackle the NHS.
I mean, how badly they've done, we won't know until probably 2 years' time compared to our European neighbours. But right now, you'd have to concede we're sort of 1-0 down after 5 minutes.